Listen carefully. Trump is blaming the Fed for the market, but he's leaving out the part where he benefited from the same system.
Today, if you announce great numbers, they raise interest rates to try and kill it. So you can never really have the kind of rally you should have. What happens and what we want, we're going to have a lot of great months, a lot of great quarters. I want the market to go up. You announce unbelievable numbers and the market goes down because they know you're going to do everything possible. In the Fed, we have a real stiff in the Fed, but that's for another day. But they raise rates. So everyone says, oh, they announced great numbers. It's great, great, great. And the market goes down because they immediately raise rates. No. When the market goes up, they should lower rates. You want to see 20% and 25%? You want to see what we can do? We've got to go back to an old standard. When there's good news, the market should go up, not go down. Does that make sense to everybody? And that's the way it used to be for most of the time. That's the way you make a country great. But our growth potential is unlimited and could be much higher if we went back to sanity. We're not doing it anymore. We're talking about the head of the Fed, and I want somebody that when the market is doing great, interest rates can go down because our country becomes stronger. See, you view it differently. Our country becomes stronger, and therefore interest rates should go down, not up. They kill every rally. If it's no matter who, if it's beyond me as president, it's no matter who's president. You have a good quarter.
All right, pause right there. Because what you just heard sounds convincing. Confident tone, simple explanation, villain identified. But this is a classic Trump move. Take a complex system, oversimplify it, then blame one institution for everything people don't like. Let's break this down carefully, because this argument works only if you don't question it. Trump claims the Federal Reserve kills every rally by raising interest rates whenever the economy shows strength. And on the surface, that feels relatable. People see good economic news, then see the market dip, and think, yeah, why does that keep happening? But here's the problem. He's leaving out why the Fed exists in the first place. The Federal Reserve's job is not to make stock prices go up. It's not to protect rallies. And it's definitely not to act like a cheerleader for whoever's in office. Its job is to keep inflation stable and prevent economic overheating. Because historically, when governments ignore that, the crash is much worse later. And Trump knows this. He just doesn't like it. What he's really upset about isn't that the Fed reacts to good news. It's that the Fed doesn't serve him politically. Because here's the key detail he avoids mentioning. Low interest rates during rapid growth can create asset bubbles, debt explosions, and inflation spikes that hit working people hardest. We literally watched that happen. Massive stimulus, artificially low rates, asset prices soaring. Then inflation explodes, and suddenly groceries, rent, and gas become unaffordable. Trump wants to pretend those things are unrelated. They're not. When he says, growth and inflation don't necessarily go hand in hand. That's technically true, sometimes. But pretending they're unrelated by default is dangerously misleading. And this is where his argument collapses. He frames the Fed as irrational, like they're just panicking every time numbers look good. But in reality, markets fall because investors anticipate future risks, not because the Fed is trying to sabotage success. That's not killing a rally. That's risk pricing. Markets aren't emotional. They're predictive. When growth looks hot, investors ask, will inflation rise? Will borrowing costs increase? Will profits shrink later? And they adjust accordingly. That's not some anti-Trump conspiracy. That's how capitalism works. Now let's talk about the most revealing part of this clip. Trump says interest rates should go down when the country is stronger. That's not economics. That's wishful thinking. If you lower rates during strong growth, you encourage more borrowing, more speculation, more leverage, which benefits asset owners in the short term, but raises prices for everyone else. In other words, great for billionaires, terrible for regular people. And history backs this up. Every major economic crisis, from the housing crash to inflation spirals, involved leaders ignoring warning signs because things felt good in the moment. That's exactly the mindset Trump is pushing here. And here's the irony. He criticizes the Fed for being afraid of growth, but his own policies relied heavily on cheap money, ballooning deficits, and short-term market sugar highs. That's not sustainable growth. That's debt-fueled momentum. So when he says, they kill every rally, what he really means is, They don't let me run the economy like a reality show. Because in the real world, responsible economic management isn't about nonstop rallies. It's about stability, even when that stability isn't exciting. And that's why this clip is dangerous.